What secrets lie hidden within the treacherous depths of the sea? How did a seemingly ordinary voyage turn into a nightmarish ordeal filled with treason, murder, and a desperate fight for survival? Step aboard the Batavia, the ill-fated Dutch East India Company ship that embarked on a journey to the Dutch East Indies in 1629. Are you prepared to discover what truly happened to the Batavia? Find out what happens when society falls apart and the evil inside of us takes over. Join us as we go deeper into this scary true story where good and evil are hard to tell apart and the shocking truth is hiding in the dark. Hold on tight as we take you on a journey you'll never forget. In 1629, the Dutch East India Company ship the Batavia left Amsterdam for a dangerous trip to the Dutch East Indies. The ship was a moving microcosm of hope, ambition, and the search for wealth. It carried cash, jewels, and a group of settlers looking for a new life. The Batavia was at the mercy of the cruel sea, and when it ran aground on the dangerous Abrolhos Islands off the coast of Western Australia, disaster struck. As the surviving rushed to find shelter on a harsh and empty shore, panic and chaos broke out. They didn't know it yet, but their fight to stay alive had just begun. Some of the stranded people were part of a terrible plan to take over and do whatever their darkest wishes were. Geronimus Cornelis, a charming but evil person, was in charge of this group, which terrorized the other survivors. In a frightening turn of events, Cornelis and his followers went on a killing spree, killing anyone who threatened their power or got in the way of their sick goals. Innocent people were killed brutally, and fear cast a dark shadow over the survivors, who desperately clung to hope in the face of terrible crimes. In the middle of the chaos, there was a small sign of hope. A young man called Wybe Hayes, who had an unbreakable will and never gave up, brought together a group of loyal survivors to stand up to Cornelis's cruel rule. As they fought against impossible odds to protect the innocent and find justice in this lonely outpost, their brave resistance and unwavering unity shone like a beam of light in the darkness. As we learn more about the scary, real-life story of the shipwreck of the Batavia, there are more things that will make you shiver. These kinds of stories always catch my attention. Geronimus Cornelis' rule of terror was more than just physical murder. He used psychological tricks to control the survivors, making them afraid, paranoid, and fighting with each other. This kind of trickery made their already scary situation even worse. In a last-ditch effort to take control, Cornelis and his followers tricked the survivors into getting on a homemade lifeboat by saying they were going to save them. Cornelis led the people who didn't know what was going on to their deaths. He planned to sink the raft and kill anyone who could threaten his power. In the middle of all the chaos and killing, Cornelis and his followers let a small group of people get away. Their brave trip through dangerous seas and rough land shows how strong people are and how much they want to live no matter what. When a relief ship finally arrived at the Abrolhos Islands, the survivors of the Batavia were no longer in danger. The true amount of the horrible things that happened on the island came to light, which led to the arrest and punishment of those who were guilty of the horrible things that happened while they were stuck on the island. The story of the shipwreck of the Batavia continues to captivate people and is a frightening warning of how dark people can be. It forces us to think about how good we are and how strong we are, and it makes us wonder how we would act in situations we can't even imagine. The real story of the Batavia shows how fragile society is and how bad people can be. It's a scary reminder that people are capable of both amazing acts of bravery and unthinkable acts of evil. The wrecks of the Batavia and the Abrolhos Islands are now important places for archaeologists to look for artifacts. Artifacts found during excavations shed light on the terrible things that happened, giving us important information about the lives and struggles of those who went through this terrible time. The scary, real-life story of the shipwreck of the Batavia left us with a deep feeling of awe and thought. This scary story of survival, trickery, and the darkest parts of people is a stark reminder of how fragile society is and how we all have the potential to be both heroic and evil. We can see the victory of the human spirit in the face of horrors we can't even imagine by looking at how brave and strong the survivors were. Their story gives us hope and reminds us that even when things look the worst, bravery and kindness can shine through. What do you guys think? Let us know.